What if music was never invented? No melody, no rhythm, no harmony, no lullabies rocking you to sleep, no anthem making your chest swell at a stadium, no heartbreak song playing at 2 a.m. Now, it's tempting to think, fine, we just lose a hobby. But music isn't a hobby. It's woven into every corner of what makes us human. It's older than writing, older than farming, possibly older than language itself. Strip it out of human history, and the world you get back is barely recognizable. Here's what that world actually looks like. Day 1 of this world, nothing dramatic happens. The sun rises. People go to work. The streets aren't silent. They're just different. There's no busker on the corner. No music leaking from a cafe. No ringtone. But go back further, way further, and the real changes begin. Ancient humans used rhythm and song to bond. Shared rhythm, people moving and sounding together, triggers a flood of bonding chemicals in the brain. Without that, early human groups are smaller, harder to hold together. Tribes that can't coordinate well don't survive competing tribes, so human societies would be smaller, more isolated, and possibly slower to develop shared culture at all. Religion bends too. Nearly every religion in human history has used music in worship. Gregorian chant, Sufi devotional singing, Hindu ragas, Buddhist chanting. Without music, rituals feel emptier. The emotional pull of ritual weakens. Fewer people feel moved to gather. And war changes shape too. Armies marched to drums for thousands of years. It kept soldiers in step and pushed them past fear. No drums, no trumpets. Coordination collapses in the noise of battle. History's armies move differently. History itself bends. Language itself might have taken a different road. Some linguists believe language evolved partly from musical vocalization, that the first human words were melodic calls. Without music nudging it forward, language might be simpler. Fewer tones, fewer nuances, emotions harder to name. The inner world, quieter, rougher, less mapped. Now think about what music does to your brain. Not just how it feels, but what it physically does. Music activates more regions of the brain simultaneously than almost any other activity. It fires the motor cortex, the movement center. It fires the limbic system, your emotion engine. It fires memory, the hippocampus. Without music, those pathways don't get the same workout. Memory doesn't just get worse, it gets structured differently. Music is one of the oldest memory tools humans ever built. Oral cultures used song to store their entire histories. The Iliad, the Vedas, the Epic of Gilgamesh, all memorized and passed down through chant and rhythm. Without rhythm as a memory scaffold, those stories don't travel. They don't survive generations. Mythology gets thinner. History gets patchier. Now look at childhood. Babies respond to musical patterns before they respond to words. Lullabies don't just soothe, they wire the brain for language acquisition. Without lullabies, children learn to speak later. They read later. The entire developmental arc of human childhood shifts. Now fast forward to adulthood and to love. Music and courtship are deeply intertwined across every culture on Earth. Darwin himself thought music evolved as a form of sexual selection, like a peacock's tail, but in sound. Without music, the rituals of attraction change. The tools for flirting, serenades, love songs, dance, gone. Romance becomes more transactional, more awkward. Sports and work change too. Music increases endurance. It masks the sensation of effort. Athletes without music tire faster. Factory workers without rhythm lose pace. Studies show synchronized workers produce more. In a world without music, those synchronized rhythms never form. Industrial productivity is lower. Economies grow slower. Now for the numbers of the industry itself. The global music industry is worth roughly $26 billion a year in recorded music alone. Add live performances, instruments, music education, streaming. The real economic footprint crosses $130 billion. None of it exists. And every industry built on top of music, film scoring, advertising jingles, video game soundtracks, collapses with it. Hollywood without scores, ads without jingles, video games with only silence. The emotional texture of those experiences flattens completely. A horror film without a score isn't scary. A war epic without strings isn't moving. Storytelling loses a dimension. Human beings are left with words and images, but the invisible emotional glue that holds them together is gone. Here's where it gets really strange. Music doesn't just add to human life, it reveals what human beings actually are. Humans are the only animals on Earth that spontaneously synchronize movement to an external beat. No other animal does that. Not spontaneously. Not like us. This tells us something deep. The human nervous system evolved to lock onto rhythm. In a world without music, that wiring doesn't go away. It looks for something else to latch onto. So humans fill the silence, obsessively. Tapping, clicking, chanting, marching, counting. Rhythm doesn't disappear. It goes underground. What fills the gap? Probably poetry. Probably spoken word ritual. Oral traditions become more intensely rhythmic. They do the work music would have done. Dance may still exist, but it becomes something else entirely. More like ceremony, more like prayer, and something even stranger happens to human emotion. The research on this is striking. Music is one of the most reliable ways humans induce collective emotion. A crowd that sings together, cries together, laughs together, marches together. Without music, collective emotion is much harder to trigger. Societies have a harder time forming shared identity. A nation without an anthem has less emotional coherence. And here's the final layer, the one that reframes everything. Music's deepest function isn't entertainment, it's regulation. Music regulates your nervous system. It slows your heart, calms your breathing, smooths your stress response. It's one of the cheapest and fastest anxiety drugs ever discovered. Without it, anxiety is higher, depression is deeper. The mental health of the entire species shifts. And this is the strangest thing of all. We'd never know what we were missing. There's no memory of melody, no concept of what a chord even is, no nostalgia for a song that once broke your heart. The absence wouldn't feel like loss. It would just feel like life. And that's the most quietly terrifying part. Come back to now. You're living inside the thing we almost didn't have. Music isn't decoration on top of civilization. It's part of the architecture. It bonded the first tribes. It wired children's brains for language. It marched armies into battle. It made strangers cry at the same moment. It held grief when words couldn't. And it calmed the nervous system of an anxious species reaching for the stars. Every song you've ever heard is a technology, one we invented before the wheel, before writing, before cities. The world without music isn't just quieter, it's smaller, it's lonelier, and it probably never reaches us. The next time a song catches you off guard, hits before you even know why, that's not sentiment. That's 100,000 years of human engineering, landing exactly where it was always meant to.